Brian Rosen. There are two things that I want to talk to you about today. One is this commercial from Budweiser for the Super Bowl. Do you remember this commercial? This was Budweiser, America's biggest brewery, talking about how craft beer doesn't mean anything. Right? This is Budweiser talking about how if you want pumpkin ale, go for it. But the world is drinking Budweiser and mass-produced commodity beers. Did you remember seeing this commercial? Well, I sure do. And I'm going to tell you something about it. As a guy who counts Budweiser as a client, I can tell you that what this commercial is an affirmation of is, whoops, we missed the boat. So instead of acquiring, which they're doing anyway, but instead of acquiring small craft breweries, which I just did another one about 2 weeks ago, and they did one at the fourth quarter, Blue Point, they say, you know what? We're going to stick to what we know. We're going to stick to mass-produced, beechwood-aged, etc., beer, which is fine. But what they're doing is the same thing that a bully did in junior high, is they picked on you to make themselves feel better. So what Budweiser are doing is calling out the craft breweries and the craft brew drinkers and saying, you want your pumpkin ale, you want your IPA, you want your winter harvest fest and your double dark IPA Bock, go for it. But most of the world, they're drinking Beechwood aged, good old-fashioned 12-ounce cans of Bud. So I want to call that commercial out because good commercial, better game, but call it for what it is. We missed the boat. Let's retool and focus back on growing our brand and getting back market share. What I'll talk about is unrelated to the alcohol beverage business, but is very much related to the alcohol beverage business. Today, Staples announced they were buying Office Depot. Why does it matter? Who cares? It matters because if you bought a stapler, paper clips, pencils, or pens from Staples or Office Depot and you closed your eyes before walking in the building, you'd have no idea where you were because a staple and a pen and a pencil and a stapler and a paper clip are commodity items. My point? You got to be different. You has to be a point of differentiation. When I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, I worked on the Office Depot account. Their biggest problem was consumers don't care where they buy a stapler. They don't care where they buy a pen or pencil. That's a problem. Kendall Jackson, Santa Margarita, Clos du Bois, right? Franzia. Those brands are commodity items. If a customer comes into your retail off-premise store, how are you different? Because if you're not different, if you don't offer anything unique, if your experience is always the same, then to a customer, they don't care where they buy it. It can be Walgreens, it can be 7-Eleven, it can be another liquor provider, or it can be grocery. So think about that. The reason why Staples is buying Office Depot is because they realize that only one can survive. And that's what's going on in the off-prem indie world. Be different, be engaging, talk to your customer. Show some service, show some selection, show some knowledge, and you'll show some victory. Anyway, Brian Rosen, thanks for watching. Oh, catch me. By the way, catch me. Rosen Retail is my Twitter handle, my website. Down here also, briandrosen.com.